Hello and welcome in this web video in which I'm going to introduce how you can easily extend the ArchiMate metamodel with your own properties. ArchiMate is an extensive language with about 60 elements and 12 connectors and uh, however in some situations it can be relevant to extend the model to add a number of extra properties in which you can extend your organization specific properties for an element. And this can be done in Sparx Enterprise Architect. Most of the time, an MDG is created for that, but that has a disadvantage is that you introduce new stereotypes. In many organizations where I coach teams, the team says, well, we want to extend the ArchiMate model for the properties, but we do not want to introduce new stereotypes since that will cause all kinds of problems. We have to extend the model with our own definitions of the elements and the stereotypes, and exporting and importing via the ArchiMate model exchange format will become a burden. So how can we create an easier solution? We can make use of the tagged values that are available. And MDG also makes use of the tagged values. It fills the tagged values, and tagged values are a possibility in Sparx Enterprise Architect to extend your data model. You are going to extend your data model for elements, for connectors, and eventually also for attributes. In this case, for ArchiMate, since ArchiMate only works with elements and relationships, we can fulfill our model, extend our model with extensions for elements and connectors. So let's go and take a look how this will work. Under the settings option, we have UML types, and here I already have defined a number of elements. I make use of a naming convention that my tagged values that I want to use start with the name ArchiMate. And why I do so, I'll explain that in a minute. Here you see that, and that is really nice in Sparx Enterprise Architect, that you can define some extra limitations or modeling or behavior of an element. For example, in this case, I can define an enumeration, give the list of elements, give it the default, and tell here for which stereotype this tagged value will be relevant. And this is really nice, and I will show you in a minute what is going to happen, because now you'll see that this type ArchiMate application component is relevant for the application component and the application node. You can do this for multiple things, for example here for a principal rationale, and that's a memo, etc. Please note that on my website you will find the examples of the scripts of the enumeration of the tag values that I have created. So let's now take a look. I here have a diagram and I am able to create an element. Let's, for example, switch to the application model, and now I can say, okay, an application component. And I can go to the properties and go to the tag values. And well, this you can imagine will become cumbersome, but I will give you a trip in that in a minute. And now you can see that for ArchiMate, these elements are defined. And when you do so, you now see that this has a tag value with a combo box in which you can select from. So I delete this element. In the IDEA add-on, the open source add-on for Sparx Enterprise Architect, I created an extra feature that will trigger some functionality when an event goes off in your application. So let's give you a demonstration on that. As you have seen, I named the tag values with a prefix ArchiMate. Now I go to the IDEA add-on, I go to the settings and to the system settings. So let's load that screen, and when that screen is available, I can modify that setting. And here it is. And here you see the system settings, and there is one setting, and it says the tag value prefix is, in this case, IDEA. I can modify it to ArchiMate like this, and I will save this. And let's take a look what is happening now. Since now, when I am going to create an application component, you will now see that the properties, when I select it, are nicely filled with the tagged values that I have defined for these elements based on the tagged values for ArchiMate. And I can switch to another one, for example, an interface. I can put it here, and I can take a look at the text values, and now you'll see that there are a number of text values defined. So very nice to automatically generate these elements. And when you later on add new text values, the functionality in the IDEA add-on will, every time you are going to modify something in an element, it will check whether there are new text values defined, and it will generate them when they are not available. So I hope with this video that I have made you enthusiastic of the combination of ArchiMate, the meta model, and the functionality available in Sparx Enterprise. So happy modeling in ArchiMate and Sparx Enterprise Architect.